You know, it has been a long while since I filmed myself without having to rely on a jacket or a coat, and the theme of waiting continues with where I'm standing outside of today. So hello again viewers and welcome back. So behind me is the Devonshire, dubbed as London's buzziest pub. How so do you ask? Well, I have for several occasions in the past 6 months tried to score a table here within reasonable time, and that indicates to me that the Devonshire is still indeed a very much sought after spot to eat amongst London diners. It has been open for about 3 years now, and it begs the question, does the Devonshire still live up to its London's buzziest pub billing? Well, enough talking, I've waited long enough, so I shall see you on the side by the table. (32°C according to my app, that is in Zone 1 London. Got linen napkin, linen shirts, doubled up, so should be well equipped for today's rather scorching vlog. It's not helped by I'm probably 6 meters away from the grill with the burning embers just glowing amber there, and that's all critical of the flavour towards any grilled meat that you happen to treat yourself if you happen to dine here. Presented with the menu all handwritten. You've possibly seen all of this before in other videos. And welcome to the Devonshire. I'll just quickly feature the set menu. It looks like it hasn't changed over the last year. The skirt steak, a fairly affordable carp, duck fat chips, béarnaise sauce, classic combination, prawn and langoustine cocktail, which would go down a treat in today's climate, and sticky toffee pudding. Perhaps something more towards autumn, winter, I'd say, in my opinion. But good value, £29 for 3 courses. If you're in Zone 1 London, that's a good deal. But I will be going for the a la carte, so quick scroll through here for you viewers. Oh, thank you. That wasn't part of the script. This is the a la carte menu, all handwritten in. It's a little quirk and feature of the Devonshire, perhaps to make the place feel a little bit more individual and authentic. And fear not, folks, there will be alcohol consumed along with the meal today. I just elected to go for some soft drink as an alternative to tap water. And I should point out salt and pepper, shakers. This is the pepper grinder. Yep, pretty hefty for its diminutive size. And a little cute bell-shaped salt shaker. Again, pretty formidable in weight. Softened butter to go with your bread, and I've heard the bread is rather good here as they bake it all in-house. I just should point out that I'm sitting by the window and I've got a pretty good view of the Queen's Head, which is one of the very few independent pubs left in this central part of London. I've made my order, and the waitress has also given me a little delightful roll. No ordinary roll, I should add. It's exceptionally soft. I'll just give it a quick squeeze just to show you. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. And just pared it to 2, or pared it to 2. Look at that. So let's try this with a touch of butter. Well, no, in fact, let me try it on its own so I can ascertain its natural taste and quality. Here we go. That is incredibly fluffy. It reminds me of a freshly made bao bun or a sasu bao you will find in a Cantonese or Chinese bakery. It's got that similar texture and flavour to it, so perhaps it's slightly inspired by that, since we're in Soho after all. Anyway, enough waffling, let's try some butter. Do you know what? Maybe I should skip the starter and have more bread and butter here. Confit tart. So confit as in slowly cooked tomatoes in perhaps olive oil, and melted goat cheese with puff pastry and garnished with delightful salad leaves. Looks lovely, lovely presentation, all presenting everything in its natural form. So let's give this a first taste. May have to resort to a bit of deconstruction here, so it's easier to get a first piece. Let's make sure we got everything, all the ingredients in one mouthful. That's a bit of the tomato as well. Okay, here we go. The tomato is exceptionally sweet, gentle on the palate. Puff pastry, flaky. As you can see, it shatters. Goat's cheese adds a little bit of cooling element to the whole mix. Great sunshine, summer flavours. It's been a while since I've done this, so excuse me if I come across a little bit rusty. Yeah, a fair amount of deconstruction needed for this lovely presented starter. In this weather, this is a good way to kick things off. I'm just going to put a little bit of the sadder leaf along with it too. Certainly one of those starters that the more you eat it, the more moreish it gets. As I'm going through this, it is a generous portion for a starter. I will spoil to you that this isn't the only starter I'm having in this video, so it may backfire. The sweetness of those tomatoes, incredible. And of course, like all good dishes, didn't need to touch the salt and pepper. So, excellent start so far. And here is course number 2, brawn on toast. So a little twist on prawn on toast, but instead of our friendly crustacean, it is pork knuckle and a variety of other parts of the pig forming this rustic classic starter. I love the colour of the garnish, the red tomato, the red onions. I've still got those confit tomatoes playing in my head. Herbs, perhaps looks like some mustard or wasabi, something along those lines, and some gherkins to have a little bit of sharpness to the proceedings. Every good pub should have a rustic starter such as this on their menu, I'd say. Oh, I see. Okay, it comes into 2 fingers. As I said, the base is toast as well, I should add. There you go. Give it a taste. Certainly keeps her palates busy. I would say the terrine closest resemblance into texture and taste is if you have a Melton Mowbray pork pie or a gala pie. So you've got that dense pork content in there, but you've got the lovely busy flavours of the pickled gherkin, the mustard, herbs, the sweetness of the onions. And yes, the great start continues. I should say the toast underneath is just enough of it to give it that little bit of variation in texture, that lovely bit of crunch to counter the dense pork content. And I would have to say the portion size again continues to be on the generous side. So if you order items from the a la carte, I would say you would walk out feeling pretty full. I realise I still have a little bit of bread, and I'm trying to figure out when to finish that off as it's so good. There's none of the dishes I've ordered so far comes with a sauce or gravy where I can actually dip it in there. But I'll be sure not to waste that one. So something. I'm not sure what else there is to add to describe the this terrine is again another dish that is not reinventing the wheel. It's a classic dish of food and done well and using good produce. Okay, so that's terrine, 1 of 2 down, and 1 more left to go. So I'll assume this is the one. Founded in 2023 following the wake of the pandemic by 3 insiders of the hospitality industry, Oisin Rogers, who was known for turning around the fortunes with the running of the Guinea Grill pub in Mayfair, Charlie Carroll, founder of the successful Flat Iron restaurant chain, and last but not least, seasoned chef Ashley Palmer Watts, all sought to bring into the proverbial dining table a Zone 1 public house that would feed its diners and quench their thirst with familiar comforts, but at the highest possible quality, day in, day out. The pub's basement area serves as a dedicated bakery for its bread and pastry items on the menu. The Devonshire also houses its own in-house butchery, managing up to 4,000 cuts of steak using grass-fed Scottish beef. The pub is also well known for offering the best Guinness available to you in mainland Britain, and that is partially thanks to its keg room, which is monitored for ideal storage conditions 24/7. The Devonshire Arms, as it was originally known as, spent most of its life as a traditional pub in 19th century Soho, and it was a hotbed for late-night boozy punch-ups, enforcing Soho's rather bohemian and rebellious reputation. There was a period when the Devonshire Arms shut its doors in 2012 to the Devonshire as we know of it today, where the pub was converted to another branch of the unsuccessful Jamie's Italian restaurant chain, and shortly thereafter it transformed into another outlet of the Cock-a-Bull eatery with a menu that specialised in burgers and rotisserie chicken. So as you can see, it's pretty difficult to sum up the Devonshire or Devonshire Arms in a nutshell. Perhaps one to discuss in the comment section. And yes, I did sense that some of you may be screaming at me for not ordering the Guinness, but they're not. I was going to save that for the main course, so here we are. This is the much famed pint of Guinness. And before I drink this Guinness, I'm going to bore you with a slight scientific fact. The Guinness in the Devonshire, its carbon dioxide to nitrogen ratio is 82% carbon dioxide, 18% nitrogen. I'll digest that while I enjoy this pint. So, on behalf of the Devonshire, cheers, cheers. I'm not a Guinness expert, but it tastes absolutely fine, and it's the taste of Guinness. And behold, the main course. I've gone for a trio of lamb chops. I realised I've done a lot of steak in previous videos. As much as I'd love to tuck into a big slice of Wagyu steak, but I just add a bit more variety into my videos. But I do love lamb, so let's give this a first try. I would judge the colour level of pinkness more towards medium. Let's give this a taste. Very tender lamb. The seasoning is on the touch on this strong side, if I'm honest with you. As I cut through this with this pretty impressive steak knife, the fat is rendered down very well. It's slightly crispy on the outside as well, so if you're into eating the fats as well, then I reckon you'll enjoy this too. I must admit the second bite was better than the first. Impressive. I almost forgot to mention the two side dishes I've ordered along with it. So you've got your mashed potato, it's much more in line of a Pommes puree, good amount of butter content there. And these are butter carrots, so the theme of butter continues through. I'm lacking greens, so in hindsight perhaps I should have ordered something like a cabbage or something a green vegetable to go along, but I will survive. And I apologise, I've got to keep my voice a little bit down. There sat a couple next to me, even though there's plenty of empty tables. But I had to word with them, they're absolutely fine with me doing this, so try to be a bit reasonable. I mentioned earlier the Guinea Grill as one of the founder members, Oisin Rogers. I can sense there is that influence being carried on through to the Devonshire with high quality meat, and using, I say, traditional cooking methods is underselling it. Exceptional use of the grill, the burning embers, the wood logs that they use to flavour the meat, and coupled with good drink as well. It's difficult not to compare the two together. Let's try the butter carrot. Amazingly soft, slightly chewy, sweet, but the overtone of butter. And speaking of butter, here is the mashed potato. Let's give this a taste. Lovely and smooth, perfect marriage to the lamb chops, or the lamb cutlets even. A little palate cleanser is hot day after all. If I was going to be a little bit critical, and it's partially self-inflicted, in addition to the lack of greens, perhaps I should have ordered some kind of sauce to go along with it. But then again, you'd think that there'd be something to accompany the meat anyway. You would probably notice by now the crockery is fairly no nonsense, no frills, despite the quality levels of the food. And that is perhaps deliberate to keep costs down, to ensure that the Devonshire, it is a pub at the end of the day, and it needs to be egalitarian. All you need to do is possess a thirst and appetite, then you're good. When you have meat that breaks down so well with a good quality knife, it's just so easy, enjoyable to eat. I should point out, despite there is actually functioning aircon in this pub, and it's probably working its guts off to keep this place reasonably habitable, but the heat from that furnace and the grill, it's a wall of heat hitting your face as you're dining away. But it adds to the whole unique experience of eating here. Again, I'm not going to over elaborate on lamb cutlets. You know what it tastes of, and you know what good lamb should taste of. Plenty of the sweetness of the meat itself. The pinkiness will reveal how happy that lamb was and what it was fed on. And it's made of the good stuff. And another piece of butter carrot. And some more, two of them. Should comment on the mash again. Velvety smooth and not a single lump in sight. Considering how hot it is still in here, I'm going to troop on and finish the last cutlet on my own, off camera, and I'll see you all outside for the wrap up. So, try not to be too long. Cheers. So there you have it, that was the Devonshire, London's busiest pub. Well, take a look behind me and you decide for yourself. All I can say was, it is indeed the hottest restaurant I ever dined in, and as I mean literally. Well, that about wraps up for today's video, so I look forward to seeing you again in the next one, so I'll try not to be too long for that one. So until that time, you all take care now.